Was the Common Core curriculum really designed for the best interest of our students? Or has history taught us that often governments have a higher stake in mind? Parents have begun biting back at the Common Core, and educators nationwide have been joining them. The NEA Teachers Union, once a great advocate for this curriculum, came out in February 2014 and repealed their support. They began to mobilize local communities, and that has resulted in state after state pushing back against what is being perceived as a federal takeover of what has historically been a state and local issue. Parents understand that the highest good for their students is not going to be served from a bureaucratic, on-high place. It is going to be served from somebody locally, somebody in their community or at least in their state who's able to implement the right curriculum for those particular needs of those particular sons and daughters. These are not data that are to be manipulated by a system where corporations are profiting by the tens of billions of dollars in a standardized testing industry where the data of those young people is sold, their social security numbers, their addresses, information. They receive piles of information after doing a PSAT because colleges have been sold that data after they have taken this test, which they're told in their schools that they must take in order to proceed toward college. There are textbook companies, there are all kinds of corporations along the profit chain. And other countries don't do it this way. Finland has one of the greatest education systems in the world, and when they spend money on teacher training, on student-centric curriculum development. They're not concerned about corporations benefiting because they understand that the purpose of education is not indoctrination. It is getting an education for our young people. Mothers and fathers nationwide, we are waking up, aren't we? And we're ready to mobilize. Now is the time for change, and it is not going to happen in the hallowed halls of Washington, D.C. unless we get together and mobilize ourselves. I'm a mom of 3, and I am there with you because I know that my kids deserve better than to be fodder for some mill that is just lining somebody's pockets rather than giving my daughters the future that they deserve. In order to mobilize for change, you need to know what the legal codes are that are on the book. So I'm going to read to you now from 2 things that are actually law in this country, but most people don't know it. Quote, an officer or employee of the federal government is prohibited from mandating, directing, or controlling a state, local, educational agency, or school's curriculum. This goes on later to say that it bans the use of federal funds to, quote, endorse, approve, or sanction any curriculum designed to be used in either elementary school or secondary schools. Notwithstanding these codes, California now stands to lose $3.5 billion because the federal government is going to repeal aid on the basis of the Common Core standards not being promoted in the state. Well, guess what? Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma, Florida, Pennsylvania, these states are all in line behind California. We are all together saying, no, this is not okay with us. We are pushing back. Parents know that the time has come to mobilize for change. Our kids deserve better. Join us and elevate education. For further information, join me on my website, PamelaDonnelly.com.